ChatGPT is my favorite one for generating copy or analyzing or doing the actual copywriting work. But if you're doing bigger picture, top player analysis, creating information about your avatar, stuff like that, I recommend you go to Bard, and here's why. So this is just an example conversation I had with Bard, and I want to show you some of the things that I did here to help me use Bard more effectively. So the first thing I did, I just asked Bard, Mike, tell me, how much information do you have access to? Again, the difference between Bard and ChatGPT is Bard is isolated. It's not connected to the internet. Bard is connected to the internet. It can search the internet. So it said, hey, it's got data that's public available on the internet. It's got information that's shared by Google and its partners, and it's got data from its interactions. So it can basically search the web. It can analyze user input. It can use Google products and service information and third-party websites and apps. And one of the interesting things that it has access to is any public available data shared by Google and its partners. I asked how it actively accesses publicly available data. It'll go out and search for you. So instead of you doing the Google search, it'll go do the Google search. It also has access to certain data sets and third-party APIs. I asked a little bit more about those data sets as well. So when it says that I have access to data sets, it has everything that's common for all. So everything that, like, all web pages that have been cached everywhere, basically it can interact with. It has access to all of Wikipedia, the world Facebook. So it's got all the fact book, rather. It's got everything that CIA has put together on different countries. And then conversations and dialogue from the web. This is the most interesting one. ChatGPT has access to conversation on Twitter, Facebook, all that stuff. Anything that's publicly accessible, it has seen before. Things on Reddit, things on online forums. So what Bard is really good at is helping you kind of speed up the research process, speed up some of the marketing analysis process, help you find prospects, help you find top players. I'm going to show you how I did that in the next little bit here. So I asked this for some more information and just can stay up to date with trends and stuff. So I just wanted to illustrate this. I said, share specific examples from conversations of young men expressing their frustrations while trying to gain muscle, as an example. And it spit back some information. They were all kind of a similar format. So I asked it about, I said, hey, these look extremely similar to each other in the structure and phrasing. I asked it, were these generated by you or copied verbatim from real conversations online? The examples it shared were actually generated from this data. So it had a bunch of data. Instead of giving me the literal customer language, it just gave me what it kind of generated as, like, based on all the data that it had, which is still fairly accurate. But I personally, call me old school, I like to hear what actual human beings are saying, the actual words they're using. So I changed that. I said, okay, give me verbatim statements exactly as they were originally expressed online. And it gave me the actual statements. Now, these are still pretty similar to the original ones. So I'm assuming this was the actual real, but it said, hey, look, this is from a specific Reddit thread. This is from a blog post. This is from a YouTube thing. These are specific things that customers have said when expressing their frustration. So if you're trying to do some target market analysis, I still recommend you go dig through and get a feel for all that. You can't stay super clinical and just interact with the target market and do your research through AI. You need to go out there and be amongst the people to get a feel for it. But if you want to get some quick data and get a start, so then when you do go out and start digging around, it's helpful, ask Bard. Say, hey, I'm trying to understand this target market. Can you give me specific verbatim examples they have shared online about their frustrations around this problem or their desires around this? And Bard will help you do that. So it can massively speed up some of the early stage of your research. It can't actually link to those specific things. I asked for it to link to those actual statements. So it can't give you that, but it can give you that data. So I highly recommend when you're sitting down to do your target market research, if you're trying to analyze business owners and what they need and what they want, if you're trying to analyze for your own needs as a person who's prospecting to business owners, if you're trying to analyze their target market, those top players, etc., use Bard. Bard has access to all that stuff. Just ask it some of those basic questions from the research document and use the data that it gives you as a head start when you start doing your actual research. You're going to need to get in, interact with people, hear their stories, feel their stuff. You can understand humans' emotions a lot better than Bard can, but this can give you some good starting data. Now, that's how I like to use Bard, or I recommend you use Bard to speed up your research process for your target markets.